The first night I took the Biaxin and Plaquenil, it seemed I would not make it through the night. The pain in my heart was such that I didn't dare sleep on my left side, for fear the extra strain would make it explode. The level of heart, brain, and central nervous system involvement was pervasive. Pain in joints, muscles, tendons, fingers, knuckles, wrists, elbows became excruciating. These followed by conditions the same as PTSD, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, dementia, depersonalization, dysautonomia. The list grew, and often it was questioned whether I was getting better or worse. Was the tide coming in or going out? Everyone who has Lyme manifests its own laundry list of rotating symptoms. For those, here come the supplements: sea salt, vitamin C, B complex, D and E, Prozac, Adderall, Lyrica, clonazepam, amitriptyline are a few. Others were added and dropped. Something for the pain, something for the anxiety, and something for the depression, and the routine of tea at 3 p.m. was helpful. Low on carbs, sugar, wheat, or dairy are just good choices to make, Lyme or no Lyme. There is an endless list of supplements that are out there for every ache and ailment under the sun, and anyone with an unlimited supply of coin can amuse and distract themselves indefinitely. But the real dogs gnawing on the root of the problem are the antibiotics. Yes, diet, vitamins, moderate exercise are all important towards a balanced approach, but without the antibiotics, it is unlikely you will ever overcome the disease. The effects of recovery, even with the help of numerous supplements, were still brutal and excruciating. For me, I would describe it as an amusement ride like the zipper that has gone out of control and is slowly speeding up while you are suffering the worst hangover you've ever had. There is no, I want to get off now. Then dementia sets in. There is no reason. There is no will. The faculties that make us human disappear. I recall screaming at my doctor, "Am I even human anymore?" I explained that I was being hit by waves every 20 minutes or so, like being stuck in the ocean during a violent storm with no life preserver. Just a rock that I could cling to until the next wave hit, knocking me back into the dark, cold waters that threatened death. You think a lot about death. It's hard not to, dwelling in the face of it, barely able to hold it off. You come to question whether or not it's the better answer, or the only answer. Then I would crawl back up onto that rock, barely hanging on, and brace myself for the next inevitable wave to hit. I told the doctor about the fear, a deep, dark, penetrating fear of ominous foreboding and dread. The horror of surviving the ordeal of recovery will test the endurance of even the strongest, most able person. Not only will you have to give up trying to do most things you used to enjoy, but learn to accept, be comfortable with, and perhaps even learn to embrace doing nothing. The number of long hours endured, second by second, laying still with eyes closed, unable to move, this is more than most people can bear. I went the route of the Buddhist monk, accepted my fate, and adapted. I still to this day am perfectly comfortable in a meditative state for hours doing absolutely nothing. It was the only peaceful spot I can claim existed during the entire ordeal. The rest of the struggle was often accompanied by thoughts of suicide. The loss of temporal spatial sensation can be dramatic. Time itself no longer exists the way you used to recall it. It seemed that time began anew each day, the slate wiped clean. I rarely knew what day it was or what month it was for that matter. Going out in public, I was always in the way. walking in front of people, bumping into things I didn't see. The overwhelming feeling was not so much, get me out of here, as, you do not belong. After all, I was the one in the way. Trips to the grocery store were living nightmares to get through, not a good reason to get out. Wandering alone in the Lyme lands is a lonely journey. The isolation, the withdrawal from living itself, is a form of solitary confinement that is neither self-imposed or projected by others. It is part of the secondary existence, the Lyme lands. Lyme rage, hopelessness, and despair continue in a downward spiral, and you have no control over it. It's not a matter of looking at the problem correctly, seeing it in the right light, and that the cup is half full. The cup is empty, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it but let the antibiotics do their work and ride it out. Let the glacier move at its own pace, as there is little to do about it except to amuse yourself the best you can while it does its job. Am I getting better or worse? Time crawls on like a slug for days, weeks, months, with seemingly no progress, no pattern, just random attacks that came and went. Some days do seem better, it is true, but then, here it comes again, back on the couch where you belong, flat on my back. It takes duration of time to know whether the tide is still coming in or going out. And when you can no longer trust your judgment about such things, everything you think is suspect. What is real, and what is just another Lyme-induced hallucination? Distortion of perception is a frequent peril of Lymers. Could it be the root of many forms of mental illness that plague our society? It will test your will and endurance long after both are gone. And now you have no choice. You're in for the long haul. It's too late now to turn back. Turning back is not an option, as that option is the final one, death.